Hi everybody, the title of this video is Incredibly Convenient Zooms, and we're looking at a Manifold Release 9 display. Everything that we're going to do here works in Manifold Release 9 or Manifold Viewer. The two are absolutely equivalent, except that Manifold Viewer is free and it's read-only, so it's a viewer, not an editor. If you're working with 9 or with Viewer, you know already that zooms in the product are extremely easy and already are very convenient. So for example, clicking here in the map, we can use the wheel mouse to zoom in, to zoom out. We can click and drag with the left button to pan the view, and we can right click and drag to create this zoom box as you see there, and it'll zoom into the box. The combination of these factors and the ability to use the back button and the forward button to go back and forth between views already is extremely convenient. What we've added in recent builds is something that makes zooms even more convenient, and that is the ability to click on to control click on this tab right here, which is the tab for the for this layer, and a control click will zoom to the entire display. So if we zoom in here down by Louisiana, and we want to go back to all the United States, we can control click on that tab, and it takes us back there. If we select a particular state, for example, let's select Florida. Florida is now selected, and we want to zoom in just to Florida, we can shift. The mnemonic is S for selection, is shift control click, and that takes us to the selection. So control click takes us to all the states, shift control click takes us to whatever is currently selected. Let's deselect that, go back to all the states, and let's add a few more layers. So for example, let's drag and drop Massachusetts, which is just Massachusetts as a, if I open it up in its own drawing, it's just that particular state. And let's drag and drop Texas. There's Texas. And let's drag and drop Idaho, our own private Idaho. And there's Idaho right there. So now, as you can see, we can play the game of control clicking on tabs to zoom to the contents of those. So if we want to see just Massachusetts, we control click on that tab, and that zooms to the content of that, whatever is in that layer. Control click on Texas, that zooms to the content of that layer as well. So we just see Texas. Control click on Idaho, and that zooms to just Idaho. I'll scroll out there a bit so you can see Idaho. Okay, let's control click on the states again, and let's drag and drop one more layer into it. This is going to be all the federal lands in the United States. Believe it or not, the federal government really does own that much land, and some of the patterns of land ownership here, which the federal government owns, are absolutely bizarre. We can see that here in what are called the checkerboard lands, where much of the western parts of the United States are owned alternatively by the federal government and by private owners in this checkerboard pattern. Wherever you see a brown square, that's a square mile, that is owned by the federal government, and wherever you see where you don't see that, that's owned by some private owner. And this is a legacy of land grants that were given to passage of railroads, where in order to subsidize the railroads, the federal government gave them every other square within a given number of miles of their right-of-way. The idea being that they could later sell those to develop, and that would increase the value of the federal land that was left, and it would be a win-win for everybody. Well, people later thought differently about that, but the legacy of land ownership in the West is you see a lot of these cubes all over the place, and there's that. Now, what we can do is, if you like, is we can see the extent of what some of these areas are by selecting them. So, for example, if we control click on that to select, we can see that all those checkerboards, according to the Bureau of Land Management, are one enormous complex area. And to see what that is, we can shift control click on the federal tab to zoom to fit, and you can see all that is one humongously complicated area. To see all of the federal lands, we control click on the federal layer again. To see just the selected portions, we shift control click to zoom only to those selected portions. So this facility, this ability to shift control click or to control click to zoom is extremely useful. And it works, by the way, in any window display that has a tab here at the bottom. So for example, let's double click open Massachusetts in its own window. Let's undock that window. So here we have a classic drawing display, which has the title of the drawing up here at the top and a tab here at the bottom, because drawing windows also can have layers too, you know. And what we're going to do is we're going to control click that to zoom into all of Massachusetts. We'll now right click and drag to zoom box here into Buzzards Bay, and if we can drag that around a bit, and if we ever want to get back to all of Massachusetts, we simply control click on the tab, and it zooms out to all of Massachusetts. So like I say, this works for everything. Here's a layer of national parks, and something's been selected there, so let's see what it is. Let's zoom in. Shift Control click to zoom in. Suppose we selected this from a table, for example. Open up the Parks table, View, Filter on Selected, and we can see, let's say we selected this particular record, and there it is. If we want to see what it is, we can Alt-click and see that that's the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. And we can play this game all day long to go back and forth between selecting things in tables. So, for example, if we want to see what the Blue Ridge Parkway is, right here, let's deselect this and let's select the Blue Ridge Parkway. And now in the in this map, let's Shift Control click to zoom, and we see there's the Blue Ridge Parkway. So this is an extremely convenient way of selecting things in tables and then seeing where they may be on a drawing. And to see what this is in context, we can toss in a Bing layer. Let's do that right there. And so now we see the parks, and then we can see the context, and we can see how the Blue Ridge Parkway winds its way from here in North Carolina through Virginia and so on. Anyway, this is an extremely convenient way of doing zooms and zoom to fit. It's a wonderful way to navigate. It makes it more convenient to work with Release 9 and Viewer than ever before. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Download free Viewer if you don't have 9. Give it a try. And I think you'll enjoy this very, very much. Thanks for watching, and goodbye from Manifold Land. Well, that was fun. If you want to see more, visit us at www.manifold.net. As always, Manifold delivers the world's most advanced, highest quality spatial products for GIS and DBMS at a low price that you can afford. Once again, that's manifold.net. See you soon.